If they make good money doing that, so what? People that flip burgers do more work than people that inherited their wealth. But you're not blaming the people that inherited their wealth, you're blaming people that flip burgers.
Hello.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Benjamin?
Hey, man. I'm a conservative. I'm open-minded though. I'd like to know why you're voting for Kamala.
I think we need competence in government, and Donald Trump does not offer that. I think he's far too old to execute the job in a way that is beneficial to the country, in a way that is beneficial to his health, frankly. And I think some of the policies that he endorses, some of the people he surrounds himself with, and some of the criminal activity he's gotten himself into far and away disqualifies him from another 4 years.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. So what policies are you agreeing with her on?
I support her child tax credit expansion. I support her calls for universal pre-K and expansion towards paid medical leave, sick leave, family care programs, strengthening Medicare, Medicaid. I support her position on the border, which is an additional thousands of border security agents, smart border technology, and expediting the legal system towards that. So there's a number of things.
I mean, I appreciate those things, but how are we going to pay for those things?
So there's a number of ways. There's ways within reworking the tax system, the tax code, so that billionaires are not paying an effective tax rate lower than the middle class. It is that raising taxes over those making $450,000 per year. There's a wealth tax. There's capital gains tax, which again would apply towards 1%. One percenters. So just a number of ways that we can raise revenue.
Right, and she's came out and she's endorsed them ways, right?
Yeah.
She said we're going to tax the billionaires and such. She said that, right?
Yes.
Can you refer to me of a press briefing of that?
Not off the top of my head.
No. I'm just asking because I would, you know, if she was actually going to do that, I would 100% vote for her. But I feel like Joe Biden said that too, and that didn't happen.
Well, because that requires Congress. So I think this is with the implication that she's working with the Democratic Congress.
I mean, there's a little bit he could do to try to push the issue, which he never did.
He has, but matters of taxation are for the House and Senate to navigate, not for Joe Biden.
Right, I understand that, but I mean, he could have held like State of the Unions, trying to push a bill through.
He did that.
No, he didn't.
He's done that in all four of his three of his State of the Union speeches.
Did he name a tax bill?
It's not a bill; it's a proposal. He's named out his proposals, yes, which is repealing the Donald Trump tax rates for multinational corporations and the 1%.
But
he's laid that out on the campaign trail. He spoke on that numerous times, as has Kamala Harris.
So you're saying just repealing the tax code was that'd be good enough?
I'm sorry?
Repealing Donald Trump's tax code is
no, not just repealing.
More than enough to pay for that stuff.
I'm not talking about just repealing. I'm talking about reworking the tax system so that they pay a higher rate than they do now.
Right. So, I mean, why would you just say, oh, we should repeal it when...
I didn't just say that.
Well, but that's what I thought you said. Joe Biden.
I said rework the tax system.
But you said he was going to repeal the Donald Trump tax code, so therefore...
I did not. You're hearing things that I did not say, sir.
You did? Okay.
No one heard me say that because I didn't say that.
That's fine. I'm moving on.
We have this live recorded. I never said that.
I'm sure you do. And that's great.
Okay. You can stop with the condescending. I know what I've said. I've made this argument multiple times. He's not for an outright repeal. It's just reworking the tax system. What he is calling for is maintaining the tax code for those making less than 400,000 people per year, set to go up under Trump's tax plan due to the expiration of that policy. But as for the 1%ers, those making above 400,000, he's for raising that.
Yeah, but he's got like 4 months left. So I'm just here to talk about Kamala. So,
I know. Kamala Harris endorses that policy.
How you say her name again?
Kamala. Like the punctuation that Donald Trump frequently forgets to use in Truth Social. Kamala.
That's fair. So that's over. Give me some foreign policies that you're for, that she's endorsing.
I still
She's
say
calling
it's.
for an immediate ceasefire.
I'm not
in
going to
Gaza.
derail you, Jaden, but I still do
Yeah.
think it's wild how suddenly they care about policy. It's so bizarre.
I know, like
No.
nobody ever asked Donald Trump's healthcare policy that he promised. Nobody
Right.
ever asked how he would get Mexico to pay for the border wall. I'm listening. It's just weird you don't hold this level of scrutiny
care
for your
about
guy.
Donald Trump's healthcare policy. What I
You
did,
should. You could be without it one day.
I have a job.
What happens when you're between work?
Then I'll find another job.
How easy is that?
It's pretty easy, man.
Is it though?
Listen,
What do you do?
I'm in construction.
Yeah,
Your construction?
it's probably true.
Okay. Is that true
Construction's-
amongst everyone though?
Mhm.
Between
Not
jobs?
everyone. Not everyone.
Right.
Construction,
Well, not everyone wants to
depending
be
on
a
what you do.
construction worker in my trade, but guess what they're doing?
What's your trade?
Iron worker.
Okay, yeah. That's a bit specific. Union, non-union.
I'm union.
Okay, good for you. Donald Trump wants to end that.
Yes and no. He can't because our unions are strong. But I mean, with
Well, for now,
what do you mean for now? How are they going to get rid of it? Prevailing
Right to
wage.
right to work. It's not about prevailing wage. Prevailing wage is what
But-
the union advocates for.
I know. That's why unions will never cease to exist.
Right, but that's the point.
Right,
Is
but
not
union membership has declined considerably
Right.
due to
Right.
to work policies and trust busting. Union busting, excuse me.
In right to work states, yes, but that's only because most
Because
right
Trump
to work
endorsed those governors?
No.
He did endorse those governors. He's endorsing Robinson out of North
That's
Carolina.
not what I
calling
was
for
trying to
that.
finish my statement, man. Like,
But he did do those things, did he not?
Yeah.
Has he not endorsed anti-union senators, Republicans in Congress, and governors?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't want anybody to be without any more protection than they already have through a union, and I wouldn't support someone who's supporting crippling that.
Okay. So, anyways, back to my point. Those states that are right to work are low population states to where those state economies are not flourishing enough to where they can support the value of unions.
I don't know what that means. You could still support a union and union values with the low population.
You can because there's enough. It's
Yeah, because
economically
collective
rich
bargaining
enough
allows
in that
workers
state,
more
like
purchasing
Mississippi,
power.
for example, to pay union wages.
I'm sorry?
It's Mississippi, the lowest income state, right?
No.
It's a poor
Maybe
state
it is. Let's
in
see.
the United States. Jesus. Anyways, they can't
Okay,
afford.
yeah, lowest.
They can't afford to pay union wages because there's not enough money in Mississippi. So therefore, you can't just immediately start with $60 an hour packages.
That's not what we're asking. That's not what we're asking. And by the way, I just want to point out, like, most unions are very aware of having to navigate union shutting down. If you remember, Penn Trucking just went under. The union and their workers gave up. Penn Trucking put them. I think it was Penn Trucking, right? They put themselves in. Was it Penn? It was one of the major trucking companies having last year. They put themselves in an immense amount of debt, a huge debt ratio. The workers took pay cuts. The union took concessions to try and keep their guys in work. So to say that the union is going to come in and like undermine and throw all these businesses under, it's just not true. Most of the time they're willing to work with them. And in most instances that the union is involved in, these companies tend to do pretty well. UPS, the list goes on. Major trucking companies like US Foods.
What do trucking companies do? They travel across the entire United States. They're not just.
Was it yellow? It wasn't Penn, it was yellow.
It was Penn, pretty sure. But
sorry, what?
I thought it was Penn. The CEO talked to him and told him they were all getting laid off, if I remember right. But anyways,
You're aware that, just really quick, you're aware that union members in Europe get paid more than union members in America, correct? And a lot of that has to do with the concessions that have been made.
Listen, man, I'm not here about greed. I make more than enough money, and I make a living wage, and that's what the union guarantees. And
right. So you should be advocating for unions.
I'm I'm not here to get too greedy and sit on people's ideas that they created, and they just, I am just a worker, and I like to get paid a living wage, and unions fight for that, and I will always be for unions.
Okay, so if you end up being in a state that adopts right to work,
well, one thing, I probably wouldn't live there, but if it did,
but the Republicans are advocating for this.
You're right, they are.
Right, so they're attempting to undermine your way of life, right? It's not hurting your bosses or your thing that they have to charge more. In fact, those union shops, right? They put in and push for prevailing wage increases so that they're not at a disadvantage.
I mean, you're educating me about everything I already know.
Right, I know a lot about unions.
So are you doing an infomercial for your chat, or what's going on?
What? I'm just simply explaining to you that I'm trying to make the point that you are undermining a system that benefits you, and you are saying, well, these people are not able in this area to pay this.
Members understand that, but the problem is the Democratic Party has stopped representing unions for what they are.
How?
What does that mean?
How? Unions and Democrats go hand in hand, and I know I did my internship.
To go hand in hand,
and I know I did my internship.
Family values.
I know this for a fact. Okay, that I did my internship at a union lobbying firm.
Oh,
so I know
lobbying.
Yeah, like from the union, they have lobbying branches, joint councils for the Teamsters. Yeah, I did my internship through them. And I couldn't tell you a single Republican that they supported.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Hey guys, if you are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you want to support the channel, you guys can become a YouTube member on this channel, or preferably join the Patreon in the link tree in the bio. Also in the link tree is my TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and the OK Hi YouTube, which I post news to on a regular basis. Enjoy the rest of the show. Right, so the unions are very clearly, there is not any, can you name me a single Republican in Congress that's pro-union?
But I'm saying you're right, but it goes back to the fact that with the prevailing wage, unions are not going to go anywhere other than the right to work states, which are the majority are low income states. There are I think 2 or 3.
Who runs those states?
What?
Right, but what you're not understanding is prevailing wages is meant for in certain areas your wages to go up. So we're not talking about $60 an hour in the middle of rural Missouri. We're talking about $60 an hour in downtown St. Louis.
Well, you're talking about both, but yeah.
Right. So unions they maintain an area wage.
They help rural, and the prevailing wage helps rural and city.
Right. But you're advocating for Republicans that are inherently against your. If Republicans had it your way, you would not be union. If you could hand off, but if you could hand off to Republicans the ability to get rid of unions or keep them in some capacity, they would get rid of all of them.
I know,
and that's what they want to do.
But they can't.
So they're trying.
They're trying, but they can't. That's all.
You're saying that they can't, but they have.
They have had a sitting Republican president. They've had a sitting Republican Congress, and they have not gone away with unions.
They have absolutely not done away with them. They have absolutely attacked them. And the reason that they haven't is because of the law, but they are trying to do that. I don't know what you're not getting here. Throughout the 80s, they're coming for unions.
Right. They have been for 50 years. And I'm not
Fish for droughts. Fish for drought.
I'm not trying to sit here.
You
want it? I tried, Jaden. I tried. You want it? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sit here and say Republicans are for unions, because I know they're not. But what I'm trying to get you to realize is that union members aren't voting Democrat anymore because of the family values and everything that has been changing. They're fed up with it. They're fed up with the sticky Democratic politics. They always promise them.
I don't know what you mean,
never follow
man.
through with them.
consistently throughout this process, throughout this election cycle, they've endorsed, the largest unions have endorsed the Democrats, the UAW, Teamsters, United Nurses, United Farm
You're
Workers.
100% right. The heads of the unions have endorsed.
No, not the heads. They take it to a vote. You know that, right?
Yes, I know.
One of them actually came out earlier than the official vote today, black division of one of the unions, and endorsed Harris.
I mean, you guys don't have to believe me. That's perfectly fine. I come from a union family, but all I'm saying is you guys have promised better things for unions, strengthening unions, and none of it has ever passed. None of it has ever gone through. And now you guys
No, it has.
you guys have steered it so far left with your ideology and everything else.
What does that mean?
There is no
Okay, let's try
moderate
this.
Democrat anymore.
Yeah, I'm glad, because moderate Democrats suck. Can I ask you a question? There is no more moderate Democrats. Can I ask you a question? Well, I would say they're probably a liberal now. What policy does Donald Trump have that would benefit you to such a degree that you would put your own livelihood at risk? Because the Republicans are going to come for you. Whether or not they're successful, that's a matter of time. I don't think they will be, but I don't think that's worth. What policy does he have that's worth the risk of you losing out on your life?
By the way, real quick, the ProAct. You heard of that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Have you heard
I
of the
forgot.
ProAct at all? Protecting the right to organize?
Give me a Wikipedia version.
It's not Wikipedia. It just came off the top of my head. Do you know what the ProAct is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Republicans unilaterally voted against this. This is the protection for the right to organize collective bargaining.
Is that for like every company, including fast food?
This is for every union, yes.
Yep. See, that's another thing, man. Like everything is so expensive because the corporations, they're not going to pay for. They're not going to lose money to pay people more. They're going to just increase their costs. So what are you going to do about that?
Why didn't they increase your costs when you got paid $60 an hour?
They did.
Who?
The construction companies that pay us.
What they raised their costs so you could get paid a living wage, so you should get paid less then.
I guess I'm not understanding between a labor intensive job and flipping burgers.
So nobody should be destitute or in financial trouble because of what they do. Just because you chose and opted to do that
to
work.
be able to live off $24,000 a year. Now you need at least $40,000 a year to live off.
I agree, but you.
And that has not
This is where you're
happened.
backward. Listen. I want to be perfectly clear because this is a tenet of unionization that is so inevitably ingrained in the union that the fact that you missed it shocks me. In the union, you are brothers and sisters.
Yep,
in the
brothers and
Teamsters,
sisters.
that's what you're referred to as. That's what you're referred to in much. You're brothers and sisters. And if the person below you makes less, you don't denigrate. You don't attack them for having a lesser or what you deem as being a lesser position. You're looking out for them like they're looking out for you. And so for some reason, you guys like to demonize people that quote flip burgers as being a lesser than. So you can justify what you do. But I want you to listen. I want you to listen for a second. Let me finish.
It's not what I'm saying at all.
But listen for a second. You make good money. Good for you. You should want other people to do well. Okay. And you should not say, it's very selfish, very anti-union, very anti-working class and anti-class, to look out for people in your same tax bracket, or at least in the same, people below you. You should be doing that because you should want them to do well. You should not want the corporations to take from them like they do for you. If they make good money doing that, so what? People that flip burgers do more work than people that inherited their wealth. But you're not blaming the people that inherited their wealth. You're blaming people that flip burgers.
No, I'm not. I don't understand what you mean. There's a huge difference in the amount of skill between the two things. Like,
I'm going to deserve a union.
And sure, yeah, they could have a union. Why not? But
then what are you arguing?
Should they make $32 an hour? And
why do you get to say that? Do people that do fast food, do they get to dictate how much you make? Why do you feel like you have an authority to dictate how much they make?
Because I'm the one buying their product. What are you talking about?
They're
And you
using
don't
your
think-
services, are they not?
What are the I'm not, first of all, quit painting me a bad picture here, dude.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just asking you questions.
People that flip burgers, what are they buying from my services as a construction worker?
The
It
buildings.
could be anything. It doesn't matter.
Buying an office building?
They
Or
might need
buying-
something repaired. It doesn't
What?
matter.
It does matter though, because that's how a good economy
And I don't
works.
see why I have to buy from you personally for me to recognize your right to collective bargain and have a decent standard of living. Like, this is such a moot argument.
let's be honest.
It's so
Yeah,
divisive, so needlessly divisive. I want you to
Let
have
me-
a
let
good
me-
standard of living, regardless of if I buy whatever
They
product you
used
produce.
to have a good standard of living. They used to be able to live
Okay,
off
Benjamin.
$24,000 a year.
Benjamin, right? I know, but now you're advocating against them getting a higher pay raise. That's what you're
Because
advocating for.
Because all this has been going on. Like, they've been making more money and has been going up.
No, they largely haven't been making
Yes,
like a
they
living
have.
wage in fast food.
I used to-
no,
I
they have been
started off
making more
working
money,
in
but not
fast
in
food.
fast food.
Yeah,
I made
wages have
eight-
not matched productivity in the
worked-
last 40 years.
I worked Taco Bell for 3 years and made $8.35 after 3 years.
Right. Do you
And
think
I
that
can
corporation should be
I
able to?
can
Right. Do you
still-
think that corporation should be able to turn around and make billions of dollars of profit off you and not pay you anything?
As long as I can be able to use that money and live and try to better myself and obtain more money for a higher standard of living, then yes.
Okay, I just want to, please don't interrupt me for this. So this is a key tenet of both capitalism and fascism, okay? Which is what's called class collaboration, meaning you shut the fuck up, you take your hierarchy in society, and we dictate which work is valuable and which work is not. And the entire purpose is to put people in a place where they can feel like essentially you're upholding, like you're upper. It's crazy to me because if you're making 60 an hour, you're upper middle class. If you're a union, you're probably not working all the time. You're probably on unemployment frequently. But if you're an upper middle class, then you're saying I should talk down to these people. And effectively, you're just being a blowhorn for billionaires. You're literally defending their wealth, not because it's going to affect you at all. The reality is if people below you get paid more, it's not going to affect. In fact, it might be beneficial. There's more money in the economy. You may get paid more. This idea that it's going to cost you all of this money is both not only wrong, for the reason that it won't if people below you get paid money, but two, because you're advocating for people to give philanthropy, for people to struggle to live simply because of the type of work that they do. And I think it's immoral. I think that it's wrong. And I think not only immoral, wrong, but I think that from the perspective of it doesn't make any sense that people are making less money, so you degrade them for it and say like, no, I don't think that you should get a better work because I don't deem your labor as being valuable, right? I worked hard physical labor. Most of you that watch this know this. I worked for over 10 years. I did some that most people in here would quit. I don't think that you would if you're an iron worker, but most people would. I didn't sit around and go, oh, the person I just bought a burger from gets paid too much money. No, good for them. Good for them. In fact, there were some times that was the case where I was like working at UPS and there were people that were making more than me working in fast food. That's not something to attack them for.
I'm not attacking them.
Right. So then support them. Stop supporting the billionaires that screw them. Stop supporting the billionaires that steal their profits, that take from them, that screw their families over, that require them to live in destitute so that they can make billions of dollars in profits. Support the workers. That's the whole point of a union.
Sure, yeah. That's exactly what a union's for.
So then do that.
I do that for my unions and my brothers and sisters in the construction trades.
Hey, but it's counterintuitive to be voting Republican.
I'm not voting Republican. I just wanted to find out what your policies on Kamala were.
Well, look at who's backing her, and it's largely unions.
Well, yeah, but I'm not just going to vote just because my union tells me to vote for them. I'm going to
I
do
didn't
it
say you should.
because I don't follow.
But if your argument is who's on the side of unions, it's very clearly Kamala Harris.
So what economic policies is she going to push forward?
I think I answered you earlier, and that's how we got in that long conversation of taxation and then unions and then this.
Right. So she oh yeah,
Paid family leave.
the phantom she's going to tax the billionaires, and she still hasn't in 4 years.
Because we're waiting for the current tax policy to expire.
And that expires what year?
2025.
2025.
Mm-hmm.
And give me an in-depth how she's going to tax the 1%, and they're not going to just work around the tax code like they've done for the past 40 years of writing tax codes.
Because it closes tax loopholes that they've used to benefit and skirt past what they've owed. It's I don't know about in depth. You can read about it on what?
And we've allowed that for 40 years. Has there ever been a president that has closed the loopholes for a certain amount of time?
I'm not sure.
I don't think there has been. I think they promised every single time, and they always.
I would rather somebody that's trying to do the right thing than somebody that directly contributes to the problem.
Yeah, but she's not trying to. She's just making it seem like she is, and she's writing in.
All right, well, I think we're about to move on here. So
Yeah, this has exhausted itself.
yeah, I think we've kind of.
By the way, RFK 2024.
RFK has no chance. That's why he's begging Kamala Harris to hire him. All right, I knew you were a wuss.
Yeah, he's begging Kamala Harris to hire him. And Trump.
All right. What a weasel.
Yeah, that's such a slimy thing. And I would expect nothing less of a guy that wrote The Real Anthony Fauci.